Okay, this is basically a test just to see how this is going to work. While I'm doing some of the stripping, I'm attempting to do a shake and spray Duracoat. You guys have probably seen these kits online, and I'm just going to try it. This is my very first time. I'm building an AR pistol in FDE, and the rail that I found, couldn't find it in FDE, so I'm going to attempt to make it FDE. I have an 80-20 receiver that I've milled out that I want to see if that raw aluminum after being prepped will take the Duracoat. And then I've got just one of my CAA saddles here for my pistol that the FDE does not really match the Magpul FDE that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to try and see if I can get that to basically match my rail. And then I've got this really cool high-speed flashlight. I'm basically just trying to make sure once you mix the Duracoat with the hardener, you use it or it's done. So I'm going to try and use as much of it as I can. So this first step here is just a test. I'm actually going to use this True Strip degreaser that they send with the kit, just to make sure all the parts are ready to accept the Duracoat. So I'm just going to do that real quick. This raw aluminum here, I've already scotch brighted it quite a bit, so I'm not so sure this is completely necessary, but I'm going to go ahead with it. So I'll be back in a minute. I want to make sure this video is working right, and we'll start from there. Before we talked about making sure your things are prepped and ready to spray, a lot of people watching this may know more about prep than I do, so let's not worry about that. But let's get into the Duracoat actual kit, the shake and spray kit, and see kind of how we do this. Now, this is my first time doing it, so we're learning together, which is okay. The color I'm going with, like I mentioned before, is a flat dark earth, sorry, FDE. It's supposed to be Magpul's version of it. It's number 79 on the Duracoat list. So you get the actual Duracoat itself, you get this jar that you are going to spray out of, and you get a little thing of hardener, and this is the actual spray that will attach to the top of this. So the first thing the instructions do is they tell you have to shake this, the actual Duracoat itself, for 3 minutes. And that's after you start hearing the click thing. So I'm going to do that for 3 minutes. You obviously don't need to watch that. Okay, 3 minutes of shaking. The next step is to pour the entire contents of this into your spray bottle. And next we pour all the hardener in. Next, we will use the supplied separate lid to then agitate this for just 10 seconds. You're going to hear that I accidentally dropped the ball in there from the other container, so this being my first time, hopefully that doesn't get in the way. You and I will be the first to know if it does happen. So you may want to be more careful when you pour your paint into this mixing jar. Make sure that ball doesn't go down in there. I'm not going to try and fish it out though. So after those two are mixed together, the spray can just pushes down on there. Make sure this is solidified up in there. This actually has a little strain filter on the bottom, so hopefully that may keep that ball that I dropped down in there from getting sucked up in there. So we make sure this is all tight, and then we're going to start spraying. So here I go. I have no idea how this is going to work. You and I will both find out together. So that's first coat on that one. We're going to be doing 3 light layers here, so I'm not going to worry about super great coverage or anything my first pass. We'll find out what that means going forward, but I'm going to just continue to spray. So that's the first coat. I'll wait 5 minutes and then I will continue on. Okay, I'm now spraying my third coat. That's what Duracoat recommends, is 3 coats. I waited my 5 minutes in between. So far I think they're looking pretty good. We'll have to wait and see what the final product looks like. I'm questioning my prep work a little bit at this point. But as a test, on the flashlight at the end there, it had a pretty shiny black finish on it already. And I barely hit it with the Scotch-Brite. And I think I can tell the difference between that and the ones that I did spend a little bit more time prepping on. So hopefully that'll be a good example of what prep versus no prep equals. Alright, we'll see what it looks like here in about an hour. So I want to quickly at least show you, it's been an hour, and I want you to see, I'm hoping the light is good enough here. The finish actually looks really good. It feels good. Like I said, it's only been an hour, so I'm not going to try and put anything together yet. I will say, in case anybody's wondering, the Magpul FDE Flat Dark Earth, the true Magpul color, is pretty close to what's come out here. Now this is a little bit shiny still, maybe, I don't know, but, and metal being plastic or whatever, but in general the two colors are coming out very close. The Thordson kit that I use for my saddle, I did spray this as well, so that should be exactly the same as that now. And since these are both plastic, you can get a better idea of, you know, how close they are. They're not perfect. The Thordson buffer tube cover was a completely different color than their saddle. I'm not sure why that was, but it was. So now, as you can tell, they're much closer. I think all in all, it's going to be a pretty good match. One thing I am noticing, and I didn't do it because it was such a nice finish. Maybe I'll think twice and do it again some other time. But the spikes, upper and lower, that I got in FDE, in the Flat Dark Earth, there is going to be a little bit of a difference. Now, is it enough that I'm probably going to worry about it? No. Now, if I get it all together and I get really frustrated because it doesn't all match, I may strip all this down again and get another kit and just spray the stripped upper and lower. But looking forward to see how this turns out when it all gets together. Like I said, it's pretty close, and I'm going to have some black accents and stuff with the different pens and whatever, so hopefully that'll offset enough to where it won't make the inability of it to match perfectly a big ordeal. The other lower that I did, this was that bare metal 80/20 polymer. I haven't drilled out the trigger slot yet. I didn't do a very good job of spraying it, but where I did spray it right, it actually looks very good. This was really just a test to kind of see if it took it or not. I kind of missed spraying on the inside of the trigger guard. But the actual finish itself looks really good, so I'm kind of excited about that. My little flashlight turned out better than I thought, having not been prepped well. We'll see how durable it is with not being prepped perfectly, but in general it looks pretty good. So that's all I got for now. After I get it all put together and everything, I will let you see the final product and we'll go from there. Okay, we have finished, and I have reassembled my weapon. Here is the CA saddle that we sprayed. Notice it's a pretty close match now to that. I really like the way the contrast of the black and the FTE looks. I think it looks pretty nice. So we didn't spray any of this. We did spray this hood. I left the ejection port cover black. I thought that contrast looked pretty good as well. And then the actual rail up front turned out really well. I left the third piece of the rail black to kind of just show the contrast again. It looks really good. I mean, for a hand sprayed aerosol kind of can spray, the finish is phenomenal. I couldn't have asked for a better product, to be honest with you. So that's my Duracoat FDE spray job. If you have any questions, feel free to post them, and I'll do my best to answer them. But overall, I say go for it if you're thinking about doing it. It's easy, and the product turns out really well. That's it.